Peace. Um, the topic of today's video is our family really our family? Like, very spiritual talk, like you might say, yeah, my family is, are you sure? Like, okay. So speaking from a soul perspective, our family is really not our family. Just think about it. If I'm a soul, I just got born into this family. Physically, they are your family, right? But from a spiritual level, you have no connections to these people. We choose our parents. We choose everything before we come into this body, right? So just think about it. Our families really not our families. They're just people that play that role. Earth is school. And basically, everybody's playing a role. For example, the dad is like, Earth is school. We come down here to learn lessons. This is school, for our soul. And isn't it funny how all the spiritual stuff manifests in the reality? Like, this is school, but we actually have to go to school, right? As a kid. It's just so crazy to me how, in reality, like, the people that we got born into, we actually have no connections to those people at all. And you can actually have a connection to somebody more than your own family. You know what I mean? Because it's not about the physical, it's more about the spiritual side of it. Another thing is that, like, we choose our parents. Due to your soul's journey, you choose your parents. And the reason why you choose your parents is because there's certain types of lessons that your soul wants to learn during that time. So that's why you choose your mom. That's why you chose your dad. And when you were a soul in that spiritual realm, you talk to your parents' soul, and it was like, hey, can you help me learn the lessons that my soul wants to learn in this lifetime? You see, this is why many people, when they're carrying a child, some women have miscarriages, and that's due to, on the spiritual side, the soul is like, okay, I don't think you can be able to actually show me my soul's journey. So she has a miscarriage because the soul decided to choose somebody else as their parents. Okay, that's what's going on. And right before the body is starting to be incarnated, it starts already seeing the family and everything. So, yeah. And another thing is that actually we're not in our body until we are born. This is why a lot of people say, oh, when I died, I saw the light or something, or like that, because it's like reincarnation. You know what I mean? Right there, when you're birthed, that's when our soul comes into our body. But when our body is like being formed inside the womb, we are not in there yet. We're still around, right? And this is why babies cry when they are born, because it's such a spiritual moment. And then like, the mother also is like screaming because a soul is coming into the body, right? And it's such a spiritual moment that's going on there. And I don't think how, like, from the outside we say, oh, they're just crying. But no, what if the baby's crying because of like all the memories that have to be erased and everything that's going on the spiritual realm, right? Because one thing that is like a little contract that we sign for a soul down here on earth is that we have to forget everything about what happened to our soul prior, so then we can come into this life and focus on this life, right? I've had a few past life remembrance, and I feel like, you know, I don't want to get too into it, but like I've seen one of my visions in my past life where I died, and I feel like people, like, if you see like visions of your past life, I feel like you shouldn't really like focus on it that much, because it can actually like traumatize you, especially like if you see like visions of that. And like, you know, I acknowledged it, but like I wasn't like really like trying to be like, oh my god, who was I in my past life and all this stuff, because it can really like fuck you up. Like, to be honest here, it can really fuck you up when you really start like, oh my god, who I was in my past life and all this, and it can really disconnect you from the person that you are now incarnated as. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of people were like, oh, I was King Tut, I was a queen, I was this, but it's like, focus on your life now. You know what I mean? It can really like fuck you up if you start like focusing on your past life, especially since like it's something so spiritual, you know what I mean? But yeah, like, I know that I am a very old soul, and I know that like most likely this is my last incarnation on this earth. I feel like you should know, just look at your life and think about all the lessons that you have gone through, and like, yeah, I just kind of know people's soul age. Like, I just can like look at somebody and I'm like, oh, you know, they're a baby soul, they're a young soul, they're a mature soul, you know. Another thing is about like soul age, it's how many lessons you can get. You know, baby souls usually die younger. Baby souls are basically the dumb people on this planet Earth, to be quite blunt. Like, you know, murders, serial killers, stuff like that. Those type of people are baby souls, and basically the reason why they do what they do and all the dumb stuff and why they kill people and all that, because their soul is trying to teach them a lesson, so then when they're born again, they don't do that shit ever again. You know what I mean? But the baby souls, they don't know any better. It's their first time on this planet Earth. They're gonna do stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about? But you see, older souls, since we've been here incarnated over and over again, we're gonna have more experience. I actually saw a video the other day, and it was like a show, and they were like testing like little kids, you know what I mean? Like if they'll get like, you know, in the car with a child predator and stuff like that. And one of the kids actually got in the car and he fell for it, right? But then another girl, she ran when like the person was telling her that. So I was like, she's an old soul. And the reason how I knew that is because like right there in that instant moment, it's like her soul had like reaction, like, no, like this is not good. But like, you see, the baby souls are more like, they're more like curious, they're more like, okay, like, you know, like they don't really care about life that much. But old souls are more conscious, more aware of what's going on, and old souls just aren't that dumb, you know what I mean? Like, we're not like here to do all that because we probably did that in a past life, you know what I mean? We learned our lesson. So when you see people do dumb stuff, look at it from a spiritual perspective. They're most likely a baby soul. They have so many lessons to go through. They have so many things to go through. Another thing is karmic relationships or divine counterpart relationships. But let's get in, like, karmic relationships are relationships put there by your soul for you to learn the lesson. And these are like the toxic relationships, the, you know, relationships that aren't real, that are based off mundane stuff. In these relationships, they're very toxic, abusive, and in these relationships, the reason why your soul is making you go through all that is for you to learn something about yourself in those relationships, you know. The divine counterpart relationships, though, like twin flame soulmates and stuff like that, like, it's like your soul has to go through stuff for you to even get like a soulmate, or like to even like have a twin flame, which is fucking rare, which is your soul split in two. So, you know, but I feel like with soulmates, though, I feel like everybody's more prone to have a soulmate. It just depends, you know. Many people don't really come here on planet Earth for relationships, but it's because through relationships our soul can learn more lessons, you know. And it just made me realize how, you know, everything is like planned in our life, you know, especially karmic relationships are, you know, those types of relationships, they don't really last, and some way, somehow, they're just kind of like broken up because that person was there to teach you a lesson. And yeah, like, it's just a lot of stuff that we go through in life that is like already planned and we don't even know. It's like everything is already planned, but we're just kind of like playing it out day by day. So just think about like all the things that we go through, and then like you look back and you're like, oh shit, like, you know what, like, it was just like so coincidental that this happened or this happened. And it was because like your soul was already planning for you to like get into that situation. You were just playing it out. Like, for example, like I was in a lot of like karmic friendships, and through those friendships they were like very toxic and stuff, but through those friendships I learned a lot about myself. Like, I learned about self-love, you know, because I had a bunch of friends like just walk over me and stuff. So through those people I had like a soul contract with them to basically be like, hey, do this to me, betray me, do this to me so I can learn something from it. So when those type of things happen to you, it's because you kind of ask for it, for your soul growth. And from our mind, we don't really get it in our human mind, because it's like, what the fuck, why did I ask for a heartbreak, why did I ask for this? But it's like, you kind of ask for it on a soul level so you can learn a greater lesson, and you learn from pain and stuff like that. So I don't know, I'm just like wowed by soul stuff, soul talk. It's just crazy, and it kind of gets you out of that like human mind that's like, oh my god, like, why isn't this happening? But it's like there's so many things that like we don't see that it's like going on, so many things that are already planned for us, and it's just crazy. So that's what I really wanted to talk about today.